That hurt. More verticality. Recording in progress. All right. Well, red card. I'm trying to like blend in with that. All right. Like hit it at the same time so it sounds natural.
The recording in progress.
But then, it's kind of like if I did that every single show. Let's say we lose a game. I'm not going to start the show with, all right. I'm going to start with,
God.
Yeah. Like, all right, folks, welcome to the show. That kind of thing. So, this is when I probably should ignore the comments, but I want to click them on, and I just did. And by the way, Jesse Marsh lost this weekend. I'm sure most of you know that, but not sure it was like all his fault. And we'll get into that in the second segment, but this is the live segment.
Loved it how my daughter decided to wait till we started the show. We were on here for about 20 minutes before the show, and she came up literally as you're like, all right.
Of course, it's perfect timing. I do want to say before we start the show, this whole so how I was watching some of these videos with the toad that eats the toad that eats the toad. Well, this new, and I didn't watch it all because I'm like, I can't watch this. This is disgusting. Some guy's putting 3 toads in an aquarium. One is bigger than the other's bigger than the other. So he has the small little toad get eaten by the big toad, and then they throws a giant toad in there, and he eats the other toad that just ate the small toad. It's just, come on, dude. Let's leave these fucking frogs alone. If they got to do that in nature, let them do it. But otherwise, can we not do it? This is the worst one yet, and I didn't even watch it, so I hope the turtle survived. It is a YouTube video called Turtle versus Shredder. Turtle versus Shredder. Fucking horrible.
I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid too.
No, a shredder, like a grinder, a meat grinder.
Yes, the shredder. Yeah, he's got little blades and shit.
All these little cogs and shit, and when you throw something in it, it crushes it and grinds it into a pulp. So how somebody can, hopefully the turtle survived. I guess the whole point was to hopefully point out how amazing turtle shells are. So, but tonight, folks, we are going to try to predict Gregg's idea of who he is bringing into the 27-man roster that we are predicting. Hey, we were right the other times we said that. So,
or at least pretty damn close.
We're close. It was like, well, there was 27 one time, and then one guy had a testicle fall off, and then it was down to 26 or something like that. So, there's that. And we've got a lot to cover here, or maybe we don't. We got your questions to take as well. So there's that. Gregg is the Rain Man if he sucked at math. Gregg is like Rain Man if he sucked at math. All righty. Oh, by the way, I made the big soccer show, or the best soccer show this weekend.
That's right. You mentioned that. I forgot to go look at it.
Yeah. So there was like 30 seconds left in the show, and they were talking about Breck Shea, and I said, yeah, they used to refer to Breck Shea at FC Dallas as the Playboy Llama, and he liked that, the Playboy Llama. A, he looks like a llama, and B, he was a Playboy. People don't know this, but behind the scenes, I think he had to flop roommates 2 or 3 times because he would get home. I mean, his teammates were his roommates. That's how they did it at FC Dallas for a while. And he would bring girls home kind of late at night. And they'd be up all night keeping his teammates up. So they're like, I don't want to live with Breck Shea. He's a wild man. I don't want to be his roommate anymore.
Very aggressive Monopoly players, I swear.
Okay. All right. So do we have any questions?
Collect $200.
All right. Yeah, they weren't playing that kind of Monopoly. So let's go jump to the goalkeepers, folks, because, this is where things get rough, right? Because it's very possible that Turner froze his dick off in the Cold Bowl game because no one will talk about what his injury is. They won't reveal what it is. So I'm just assuming since it was called freakish or a freak injury, I hope that's not a big deal. But, right now we got to assume he's not going to be on the team. Steffen, he's still out. So we got to assume that he may not make this window either. And that's how we went into this. We had to assume those things. And so our goalkeeper picks, as you can see, are Ethan Horvath, who's now played 4 games in a row for Nottingham Forest, including the FA Cup game today. Mighton didn't play, though, for Nottingham Forest, but Horvath, they won the game.
Has Mighton played much recently?
Who? Mighton? No. Since he's come back from injury, he kind of lost his spot in the rotation. So I don't know I know people were excited that he might pick us, and really he's got no choice but to pick us.
Pretty much.
I mean, if he had a smaller country to pick, he might pick that. So Ethan Horvath is the man. Played good today. Yes, he's played good in every single game. In fact, Cooper, the manager, said, yeah, Ethan's making it really hard for me when Samba is back to pick a different goalkeeper. And Samba is back. He was on the bench today where Ethan Horvath usually sits for even cup games. So Horvath got to play. That's a big plus. Shawn Johnson, I think, is going to have to be your second pick.
Yeah.
I mean, you could come up with some other names, but we're trying to predict what Gregg's going to do, right? So he's not going to just go out there and whip some dude off the field who's barely played for us. So he's going to want the guys that have been in camp, and that's probably why we picked Gabriel Slonina as well. Young kid, he's not going to get to play, but
I mean, there's a number of other potential MLS goalkeepers that would probably be better suited than Slonina at this point. Even though I'm a big Slonina cheerleader here, but I only included him primarily because he was on the last window roster. Now, mind you, they brought a fourth goalkeeper, of course, a goalkeeper that would never see playing time. You might as well start incorporating him into the system as a whole. Plus, I mean, there's obviously the interest for Poland with him, but I'm not saying there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk on Twitter. Should Slonina start at Azteca? Or what do you think about that? I'm like, no chance. There's no chance, none whatsoever, guys. He's got like 7 to 10 games under his belt as a professional. He's more than happy to accept the call up. But yeah, he has a lot of work to go, guys.
He's 17 years old.
Yeah.
That's fetus age in goalkeepers. He's got a long ways to go. So I think that's the goalkeepers. Do we have any questions about that? Do we get more defensive to overcompensate our goalkeep issue? No. I don't think so. And I think it's Andrew B. I don't think so, Andrew. I think Gregg's going to play. Gregg's going to Gregg. I just don't see it. I really don't. When Klinsmann put out a team, I just wondered if it would be consistent with the roster before, or they'd play the same way back when we were qualifying the first time around with Jurgen. But with Gregg, it's just so fucking predictable. There's just no way I would say that. Slonina is good MLS PR, so he will be in there. Good MLS PR. Yeah. Well, he's not going to play.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, it makes good news for MLS saying, 17-year-old starlet, Gabriel Slonina called into the national team again.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that might play a factor, but I mean, he's a talented kid, and they may be looking at this window saying, well, even if Horvath goes down with something, Shawn Johnson's there to pick it up.
They've got plenty of MLS PR. Steffen played in the MLS. Turner's an MLS player. Shawn Johnson's an MLS veteran. You don't need Slonina. They're bringing him in because they are grooming him. Let's just put it that way. And I mean that in the nicest way. All right? Not in a sick way.
I have no idea what you're talking about, grooming.
Yeah, that's why you were smiling already. I saw it. All right.
The out of context videos are out there, Derek.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't need those, guys. Don't do those, please. Brett, you think that's fucking funny. It's not funny. Not when my employer sees it. Okay. That's not funny anymore. Then I got to explain what I meant. So let's not do those, people. All right. Stop laughing about it. It's not funny.
Can't help it. Can't help it.
And it's your fault in the first place for encouraging it.
I did point it out. I'm like, dude, somebody's going to take that out of context. Probably going to be keyboard warrior. He's going to do it too. And he did it. He did it.
Yeah. All right. And now we got OnlyFans jokes going on. All right. What do we want to... Do you want to do another question before going on to the wide backs?
Well, I guess we let me scroll through. Oh, here we go. This is pertinent to what we were talking about. So, should Ethan Horvath start against Mexico?
Being right now, he's the only keeper we have that's played 4 games in a row. Yes, and he knows what it's like to play in Gregg's system. So, I would assume Horvath will play all 3 games.
We're talking about that with Pete too. Yeah, like even if we happen, what you're going to say, I'm sure you were about to say this, but even if we had qualified after Panama and Costa Rica is meaningless to us, we've already made the World Cup, that you would still see Horvath probably getting the game regardless.
Probably, unless they want to give Shawn Johnson a little pat on the butt for just riding pine every window.
There you go, buddy.
Hey, man, thanks for riding pine every single window. Here, we're going to give you this last game.
It was only every other window from like November on. So, I mean, not the first 3 windows or so, because we had Horvath in there.
When's the last time Shawn Johnson played for the U.S.? I think it's been a very long time. But it's very nice of him to be around. He's a veteran presence. So there's that. Let's see.
There you go. Could start Slonina at cap time. But saying that, though, he's 17 years old. So there's a whole new rule. And I don't know the inner workings of the new rules as far as cap time.
No, that would cap time.
Would it legitimately?
Yes, because it's an actual official World Cup qualifying game.
But there's still a thing like it has to be 3 games and whatever.
Nope, that's an official thing. So that's done. He's done after that, if that's what he decides to do. As far as I understand the rules now, like if you think about it, other guys have not played in anything but youth tournaments before making their switch, so that's a different situation. But if you play in an official like World Cup qualifier, you're done. Because Jones never did for Germany. That's why he was still available, even though the rules have changed a lot since Jermaine Jones made that decision. So I think the Olympic team for Germany was considered a U23 team, so it didn't count. So Horvath meets the Berhalter criteria, getting playtime and in form. Well, that's the thing, Tom. I mean, he wouldn't have, but he has just played for a month straight for Nottingham Forest, or 4 games in a row, and he may not make it 5. I think he's earned 5 in a row, but I think that's enough. Certainly enough for Berhalter. That's for sure. I'd be more worried if I'm Berhalter about Steffen and Turner right now. Did he freeze Turner's dick off, or is Steffen ever going to be healthy again? Because it seems like he doesn't play and he gets injured, so it's weird.
I heard he put one of those. Turner put one of those like hand warmers down his pants, and he has an issue with that. He's recovering from that, not necessarily frostbite.
So he burned his
dick. Okay,
all right.
Chris Gary backs me up here. He says, Brett, if he plays 3 games, he's officially cap tied. But if he plays less than that, after 3 years, he can make a one-time switch, which is that under 21 or 23 rule or whatever it is.
Huh. Okay.
So
that's not how I understand the rules. But Chris, you're probably right, and I'm probably wrong. Just keeping up with those stupid rules as they evolve.
Under 21, he says. If he recalls correctly. So
yes.
Much like me, if I recall correctly,
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. There's an age aspect to that I totally forgot. So that's correct. Let's see. Let's move on. Let's do the wing back or the wide backs. So this is left back and right back combined, which we just called wide backs. Whatever. We'll do better next time.
I went with a 2-letter system here to describe. So
Yeah. Okay.
Because I like keeping it nice and tight. Nice and neat.
Sure. Okay. So, the thing about this is that Brett and I got together and we did our picks. We compared them and we had the exact same people, except for
arguably maybe a change. And quite frankly, even here, it's like, so a lot of people, let's talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of people are probably going to bring up Scally.
Yes, they are going to bring up Scally. And this isn't what we would do, folks. This is what Gregg's going to do.
Here's another one too, I guess. Jonathan Gonzalez as well.
Again, this is what Gregg's going to do, not what we would do. So, and listen, Jonathan Gomez has yet to play a game.
Did I say Gomez or did I say Gonzalez?
It's Gomez.
I don't know if I fucked it up, guys. Yeah, I meant to say Gomez if I didn't say Gomez.
So Jonathan Gomez, he played today, actually, for Real Sociedad B. So he's back with the B team. That's going to go on for a while, okay? So, you're going to say, and that's the Segunda. You're going to say, well, if Moore can play for the Segunda, then why, and make the national team, why can't Gomez? But Moore doesn't play in the Segunda anymore, number one. And number two, let's be honest about why Moore made it. He was available and others weren't. So that's why there's no Scally on here. We just don't think as well that Gregg's going to pick him. And I just base that on the fact that he seems to not be interested in him.
So
real quickly, give him a phone call.
Real quickly, Nickens says Bello over Vines.
Yeah. So the only reason Bello wasn't called up for the last time was because he had just got to Arminia Bielefeld and he wanted him to settle in. So now that he's in and he's settled in and he's playing intermittently, I think he values Bello. I think Bello's been in his system more recently and he feels comfortable with him as a backup left back to Anthony Robinson. And again, he won't play anyhow. He might play the last game if we're already qualified and we're locked into second or third. Then
here you go.
You might see Anthony Robinson play all three. But
hold on, I guess since you brought him up, excuse me, Derek. It's pronounced Jedi.
That does make it easier. And yes, Cannon is a right center back. Apparently, that is where he's been playing for Boa Vista. So in that case, he could be a backup center back if you needed to go that route as well. Especially with so many of our center backs really falling out with their teams. McKenzie had one game, then he's back to the bench 2 games. Matt Miazgas just totally fucked at Alaves. EPB is starting to get some games at Troyes, and he's playing well, but he hasn't played for Gregg for ages, so he's probably not going to get called up. And the same thing goes for Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Every time you say that team, every time you say Troyes, I really think you're just saying it in an offensive term there, Derek.
Yes.
Troyes.
Tom, are we at a point in qualifying that we really don't want to see young players? Just bring experienced players and make sure we do qualify? Yeah, so far. But George Bell, I guess, would be considered a young player, right? But he's really the only one on this list. You still have Yedlin on the right to back up Dest. And then Bello's just like an emergency, right? Anthony Robinson's playing all 3 games if the game's on the line. Mm-hmm. If we get through the first 2 and we're qualified, then you would probably see Bello in the last game give Jedi a rest.
Or do you see Acosta as a left back?
Yeah. Well, he can play. He's a good utility player. He'll pull it off for you.
My joke is if we qualified at that point, then Acosta's not going to be playing left center back. Left back. He'll be playing the number 6, and Adams will be resting with his legs propped up on the next chair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, again, just to clarify, these are Gregg's picks, or what we think.
Yes.
Gregg will pick. It's not who we would bring, because if it was up to Brett and I, Joe Scally's in this goddamn
absolutely
wide backs.
I could see 3 names that I'd have him over top. So.
Mm-hmm.
Gregg Berhalter's puppy says, "Screw Miazga."
That might. Yeah, well, Miazga's been really good. He hasn't grabbed anybody by the balls this season. But then again, I mean, he hasn't played much either. He's got to get a better agent, or he's got to play better. Either one of the two, because his time in France was awful, and now this is another awful for him in a row.
Did you catch the joke?
What joke?
Reread that.
Gregg Berhalter's puppy. Yes, I get the joke that he doesn't like Miazga because he picked him.
We just went off on a tangent talking about like Miazga's not playing well. I'm like,
but I guess I've heard that joke so many times at this point. It's I'm kind of numb to it. So forgive me.
Oh no! It starts.
Miazga spotted in Atlanta with Michael Vick. Oh boy.
Allegedly, people. Allegedly.
Yeah, let's say there's a big difference between dog fighting and accidentally kicking a dog. Yeah. Or kind of like almost stepping on him, but then like flinching and like kicking the dog. All right, let's move on to center backs. Let's do it.
Okay.
Tom says, make sure you have 5 right backs. Let's overdo it on one position. Exactly.
Well, we had 4 last window, so yeah. 5 must be the magic number.
Pile them on. What the hell? So center backs, we got Walker Zimmerman. I mean, that's just a given at this point.
Guaranteed.
Miles Robinson, given. Now, people are not going to like this, but again,
I'm looking at the chat to see if they catch up to it before we say it.
This is Gregg. What Gregg is going to do.
Wow. That's the first one that popped up was, wow, Ream?
Yes, I do
Didn't see that was a big question. I thought Aaron Long would have your bigger question there, Chris.
Again, so Miazga's not coming, folks. All right? He's not going to be there. EPB is not making this team. McKenzie doesn't play. He doesn't deserve to make this team, and I think Gregg's figuring that out. So that leaves you who? It leaves you needing a backup to John Brooks at left center back, and that's Tim Ream. He probably won't play, but probably Brooks won't play either. And as long as Brooks is willing to be a backup for Miles and Walker, he'll be on this team, because if Gregg does not do this is what I hear, it's just shit I'm hearing, that he is going to get it from the press this time, because they're going to say, because last time, what was Gregg's excuse for not bringing Brooks? Form. There's no way he can make that excuse.
I think that was a great excuse then, because he was informed then.
It was a bad excuse then, and it will look doubly bad now. And people are just going to have to call him out and say, okay, now you're just full of shit for sure. Before, I thought you were half a full of shit. Now you got shit just piling out of your fucking nostrils. You are definitely full of shit. There's going to be no way he could justify it. So he's going to bring him along for the ride. But John Brooks is going to have to accept that he might be a bench player, in which case Brooks may say, well, my back's not feeling so good.
Yeah.
That's what he did one of the other windows.
Real quickly, I wanted to throw this chat here before I jump to another one, because this one's too good to pass up. But Lemon Party says Miazga thinks Old Yeller has a happy ending. Okay. I wanted to do that because
quit encouraging this, Brett. Quit encouraging this.
Citizen Stranger says, is Chris Richards injured?
Yes.
Well, no.
Yes, he is. He's just getting back to training, and he's not even close to fully fit.
Well, that's the thing, though. He's back to training. He hasn't been on the game day 18. We'll put it that way, guys.
Nowhere near it.
He's recovering.
Nowhere near it. He's nowhere near the Hoffenheim game team right now. He didn't play this weekend. Wasn't even in the 18. He was in street clothes. Miles Robinson is not in form. Who is on?
But
who is on Atlanta? Who's in form for them? I mean,
the reason why I brought this one up is it doesn't matter if Robinson's in form. He's been a consistent stalwart for Berhalter.
Yeah,
he's going to be there regardless. There's no way in hell he's not there this last window.
Yeah, he's a Berhalter snuggler, so he's going to be there. Just like Walker Zimmerman could be in bad form right now in MLS, he's going to be there. They know the system. They know Gregg's system. He likes his ball snuggled, and that makes him feel comfortable. No, Omar Gonzalez is not coming back.
We're still working on that Miazga interview, guys. So give us time.
Yeah,
he doesn't frequent the Twitter field very much. So
Aaron Long, I think, would surprise some people, but it shouldn't. Aaron Long's been in every
Oddly
camp.
enough, the chat has been quiet on Aaron Long's inclusion here.
I'm just telling you.
Maybe they agree and they're like, that makes sense.
Yep. So
the fact that he was there for like the last 3 windows, he wasn't there included technically in the last window, but the 2 to 3 windows prior, he was still there. Means that Berhalter is waiting for him to get back into match fitness, and he scored a goal recently for Red Bulls, didn't he?
Yes, this weekend.
Yeah, he's getting games. He's getting back into form. He's still coming off a long window, but he's had like I said, 3 windows of training camps to get back into form. So no, we're hurting on center backs. Aaron Long's going to be included, most likely. I agree with Derek on this one, 100%. Yeah.
Richards did not break his foot, by the way. Somebody mentions that his foot wasn't broken. That was Weston. Oh, I see somebody replied to him already.
Okay. Yeah, no. Richards left the game in against Honduras with the thought that he broke his foot.
Yes, they thought.
They said it was something else completely. I don't know what the injury was, but he was out for a couple of weeks. He's come back to training at this point. Just hasn't cracked that 18 yet.
Yeah, some sort of.
All right, it was a high sprain for an ankle. Apparently, we have a number of people pointing that out.
Yeah, I thought it was a sprain too. Tim Ream only brought in because again, Gregg will feel comfortable with Tim Ream there as a backup for the left center back position, which is funny because we already got John Brooks there. But Tim Ream can be kind of versatile, and let's say we win first 2 games or we win the second game, then you can kind of screw around with some of these guys and bring them in and just give them some time. He may only bring 4, but I think he's going to bring 5. And if he's going to bring 5, Tim Ream is way more in form than McKenzie. He's not more in form than CCV or EPB, but it's a guy that usually I would say that Gregg would only bring in if Reyna was brought into the team, because he's there to kind of babysit Reyna and be his mentor. But even this time, I think he'll be there. Or we think he'll be there.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just a bad joke there, man.
No,
sorry, I'm getting it.
At least GGG uses longs, not ints. Programmer joke?
Yeah. Int stands for integers.
What the fuck? This is the guy. This guy does the. This guy does the IT shit here. Okay, up there, down here.
I laughed a little too much at that. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I would never know what INTs. I would think interceptions. I don't know. Sports.
Yeah.
All right. Are we moving on to midfield?
Yeah, let's jump into them.
Or do we have questions that we want to answer? I don't know.
Maybe just spoiled it for everyone else.
Tom says Ream's been rock solid for Fulham. He's right.
Yep.
He has been. And he definitely, I think, deserves a sniff. And just even if it's ceremonial, he's a real pro.
It's an interesting one. Ream in the squad is guaranteed. Reyna is coming.
I wish.
Oh,
I really do.
Ream in the squad, guaranteed. Oh, okay. No, I get it now. Yes. Sorry, guys. I didn't quite grasp the joke there. I was misreading it there.
No, I wish it were true. I wish it were MSB, but I just don't see it happening. You want to take one of those?
As a throw to Watkins. Again, I'm only pronouncing it because that's how you pronounce it.
Vodka. That's how I pronounce it.
Watki, whatever.
Vodka.
All right, let's just take a look at this one right now. What is the one area, roster selection, formation, play style that you and Derek disagree on most going into this last window? What or who is it?
We don't disagree on the player pool that Gregg will probably
It's pretty consistent across the board, guys. I mean, early on in the cycle, I was a little more optimistic when it came to who I thought was going to be included, and Derek was more like, "Nah, you're wrong. Berhalter is going to call this bro in." Not because it's the right pick, but that's who Berhalter is. And at that point, I just started accepting that just expect to see a consistent level of regulars. So I kind of molded that. I think where Derek and I tend to differ, and this is just using qualification as an example. Derek has stated a number of times how he thinks we're going to qualify this last window. Anything we're going to qualify, he says.
Mm-hmm.
But Derek's a little more pessimistic. I'm a little more optimistic. I think that's where we really falter. But I think that's where we get our history from.
That's not the falter part. That's the best part.
Yeah.
And if you ask us to pick our favorite formations, we would probably, describe. You're going to be an empty.
Going like 4-2-2-2.
You're going to be an empty bucket guy, and I'm more of a 4-2-3-1 guy. But you know what? Those look a lot alike. You can play them, and they look a lot alike. What did Jesse Marsh say when they asked him, what formation you're playing, and he's like, "Oh,
I'm not going to tell you."
we're gonna play a 4-2-2-2, but it's gonna look a lot like a 4-2-3-1. He said that literally. That's what he said. So there you go.
I just hate solo striker formations. I hate them. I played that. I mean, despite the fact when I like back in high school when I played, we played kind of a second striker with the striker. And it was not
nothing.
Well, yeah, yes, to an extent, but the job requirement was like one person's checking to the ball, one person's making a diagonal long run. But I just know that when you're playing that island position as a striker, it's so much running and it's so much non-productivity, I guess, depending on how your team plays.
Well,
I'm not a huge fan of the solo striker.
In a 4-2-3-1, those three behind the striker should be working in tandem with that striker. He should not be all alone. But
all alone. I've always seen whenever we play a solo striker as the United States men's national team.
Yes,
it was always Josie on an island. It was Sardis on an island. Insert random striker here, Bobby Wood on an island.
Yep.
So it's just when we play that solo striker, it was such an unflattering position to play for a U.S. striker.
Yeah, and it still is.
Yeah.
Even though we're supposedly playing three forwards.
I will pass with a solo striker formation any day of the week. Give me two strikers. They can work off each other, and you still have a midfield that can back you up.
Yep. Hey, I'm not even against playing a standard flat 4-4-2.
Diamond?
No, not a diamond. A flat 4-4-2. Yeah.
I guess depending on who you put in that center, man, that could be no different than my 4-2-2-2-2 bucket.
Could be.
Depends.
But I'm playing flat. You're playing too deep. Off topic, but the International Cat Federation banned Russian cats from the competitions. Made me laugh. They consider themselves the UN of the cats.
Dude, EA talked about removing Russian teams from FIFA. So,
yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's getting a little crazy when it comes to that.
It's getting a little insane.
I understand, like, the sanctions and the banks and stuff like that, but you're like EA, you're like, we're going to remove Russian teams from our game, and Russia's sitting over there going like,
I don't
care.
I don't remember the fucking politician, and I don't really care what his name was, and it doesn't matter what party he was, but he was saying that we should kick all Russian students out of American colleges, like those Russian
immigrants in general. They said,
like those Russian students, like they had something to do with this. I don't think so. Anyhow, I mean that's not you want
by association.
Yeah, you want to punish the Russians. That's not going to do it. All right. Siberian cats have been canceled. Okay. Yeah. Did you guess discuss Balogun, or what his name is? Florin Balogun. What's his story? Story is born in the United States, but moved at a very, very young age to England, has been in the Arsenal system for many, many years. And, of course, still has, he's still American. He was born in the United States, which makes you an American citizen. And so he's always had the opportunity to pick us. He's played for us one time, I believe.
Played for our U18s.
Yep.
And he's been playing with the U21s for England for like the last 6
call-ups.
Good friends with Yunus Musa.
Yes, and very, very good friends.
Berhalter was in England.
Yeah, exactly. And he met with Balogun, and the English press is losing their shit. They're like, man, we already lost Musa, one of our other youth players. Now we're going to lose this kid too. What the hell's going on, guys? But for Balogun, folks, give it time. I don't know how good he's going to be. I mean, he's playing at Middlesbrough, but he's not really making a dent in, so remake of An American Tale coming soon. 5-volt eaten alive by a heroic Ukrainian cat in the first scene.
I feel like the whole American Tale spawned because of my comment about utilizing a certain song from it when it comes to Berhalter.
Yeah, you actually sent me that song. So
Yeah.
That was funny.
It's,
That was funny that this is brought up. So those are our center backs.
But that was a funny spin-off of that one.
Yes. All right. So those are our center backs. Let's do our mids. So again, these are Gregg's picks. This is what we were saying Gregg will do. This is not what we would do. But these are going to be the guys that we think Gregg brings. Obviously, Tyler Adams is on this list along with Kellen Acosta because they're going to play the 6.
Yep.
Everybody else is an 8. So that's Sebastian Lletget, Yunus Musa, Luca De La Torre, and Christian Roldan. If you're asking me, in game 1, will Tyler Adams start because he's got yellow card issues? He might not.
So Berhalter in the past has gone into each game, because this is a question that's been asked. Like when playing El Salvador, the presser was asking, do you sit Tyler Adams out since the Canada match is going to be an important match? And his approach every time he has to address that question is, we play it one game at a time. So it could be that Berhalter plays him in Azteca. We'll see, guys. This is a tough one. This is one where people are split. Like, no, play Acosta. He has a history with Mexico. I mean, he partook a little bit during Nations League.
Yeah.
He was in the Gold Cup. And I don't know if he actually played in the qualifier. Somebody answered that for me, but I'm not 100% positive about that.
He's also been he was pretty decent last night for LAFC.
And let's not forget he had, 3 assists? 3 assists?
Yeah, he's great on set pieces. And really, the game that matters is Panama. Mexico, that game doesn't matter, folks. It just doesn't. I mean, it'd be nice to get a point coming out of there or even win it. But the game that matters is the one home game against Panama. That is a must fucking win. And that's when I'm starting all my best players. I might give some of the other guys, I need Adams to get off that yellow card. So I'm going to save him because it gets to yellow against Mexico. Then we have to start Acosta in the most important game in the window. So,
but Daniel, we both agree here. And here's the big one. Acosta's attitude would help in Azteca as well.
Yeah.
And that's one thing he brings. We've said, if you go back through our shows, especially during Nations League and even afterwards in Gold Cup, the attitude he brings to plays, like he's the first one in somebody's face if they're getting a little too rough.
Yeah.
It's a vital thing to need on the field, and he brings it. Now, mind you, depending where you play him, if you play him as an 8, he adds a bit of a deficit there too. But if you play him as a 6, and his responsibility is to break up the opposition's attack, get rid of the ball to somebody else who can do something creative with it.
Yeah.
And then he excels, and then give him a couple of free kicks, and all of a sudden he's got like 2 assists, 3.
So the other thing about this is I don't think that Lletget and Roldan play unless we are qualified after Panama. They're just there.
I stand from that at that point. Why even bother calling them in? Why? I know Bucio's not playing, but I mean, why not bring somebody like Bucio or Tessman in instead?
Bucio didn't play for
a while now. Yeah,
no reason at all. No, there was no. He wasn't listed in the injuries. Tessman played. But not Bucio. The reason you don't bring Tessman is he's got like 1 game under his belt for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, I mean that's my point though. I mean, if your goal is to really not play these guys unless we qualify, then at that point, why bring them in? Why not bring somebody else who can at least help us move forward with the program?
Because he doesn't trust them. That's why.
I don't trust them either. So
we're Gregg today. We're doing Gregg.
I guess I gotta live with that.
Gregg's going to say, listen, I need the guys I'm most comfortable with. These are the guys that he's most comfortable with right now. And he just figured out he was comfortable with Luca De La Torre last window. So I think he would be totally fine playing him again. He gave him the game ball and all that.
Barring if he gets butthurt from his post-game interview.
Yeah, I think he's going to slide by on that one. I think we were the only ones to bring it up. So honestly,
we can read between the lines.
We were the only show that brought up his badass interview afterwards. Just throwing some dollars to my favorite Camboys. Woohoo! Thank you, Cannon Pie.
Subscribe to us at OnlyFans.
Thanks for the haunting shark photo. So this is it. And then, like I said, I think Leggett and Roldan might play that last game unless, we're winning big time and in against Panama, we're up like 4-0. He might throw Roldan in because he doesn't want him to bitch and moan, because Roldan is more liable to bitch and moan. Although Leggett can be kind of bitchy and moany too. And I
would say, I think then Roldan, wasn't there a whole rumor as far as Roldan simply stating that he didn't know where he stood on the team or what his role on the team was.
He thought he should be a starter.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice.
Right.
Matt J says Pepe, and I think one other said that Roldan really made him feel comfortable with the group, then hire him as an assistant coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't have a problem with Roldan, in all honesty. Quite frankly, I do have a problem in not necessarily this window because we have so many injuries. But like in past windows, when him or Leggett, for that matter, and Derek and I always talk about, we're big proponents of pre-injured Leggett.
Yes.
But when other players who are very talented that aren't getting called in because you have a couple locker room guys, it seems wrong, I guess.
Yeah. Well, listen, it took them way too long to get Luca De La Torre in this lineup, and it could have been done a lot earlier. And
watch our show.
It could have been done in a, you could have integrated him much earlier. So, but look, he jumped right in, and I know it was against Honduras in the blinding cold, but still, he did. Luca De La Torre did what he does for his club, and he's good at that. You got to give it to him. And his defense was a lot better than anybody ever predicted. It was a lot better. But people don't know he's had to play, the 6 before for his team.
Yep.
So, all right. So that's midfield. Do we have any questions? Let's see.
Yeah. Going pulled up here now.
David, no, on Michael Bradley. Did you watch? Did anybody watch the Toronto game this weekend? They were god awful. And I know David's joking.
Look down here.
Like a waitress at Chili's, Roldan brings nothing to the table. Oh, God.
Lemon Party's been on fire today.
Yeah. That's a good one.
All right, let's see here. There's a good question.
Yes. Adam. Yes. Does Adam's lack of playing time concern you? It does, but due
to lack of options as a whole, it doesn't bother me. Adams is still going to come out on the field, and he's still going to put everything he has out there. The big question is, how do you use him, given that he's on a yellow card accumulation, and that second game against Panama is a must-win.
Yes.
So at that point, I'm not taking a chance.
I mean,
he goes out there and gets a stupid yellow for some reason. Maybe the ref has something against him and gives him another yellow card.
You don't use him is, let's say Acosta plays in the Mexico game at the 6 and just fucking kills it. Just destroys Mexico. Yep. Puts in 2 crosses that are headed in for goals. Plays an incredible game. That's the only reason Adam's not going to play that second game. And I could understand it because we've had a real hard time with set pieces. They've been god awful until Acosta started taking them. Pulisic sucks at them. Reyna would be good at them, but he's not going to be here, folks. So there you go.
So Matt, this is fair. This is a fair point to make because this is something Berhalter kind of alludes to in the end. But he says Adams averages 0.11 yellow cards per 90 minutes. Play him all 3 games, otherwise you risk him only playing 1 if he gets a yellow card against Panama.
Yeah, that's the thing, Matt J. I mean, I know
it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I get the stats. No, I get the stats. But he's due one again. He really is. He's due one. And now I hope he's smart. The one that he's being hung over his head right now is that one where he ran down the field and just like hit the guy in the head. So there's that. Hopefully he doesn't, do something like that. But, that's going to be an intense game versus Mexico. Yeah. There are going to be some legs flying, some trips, some nasty hits. And, I just don't want to risk it. I don't. I want Adams to be available for Panama. And I know it's a small percentage, but yeah, I'm not willing to take the chance, actually. Let's see. What you had something else up?
Oh, well, yeah, I'll pull it back up here in a sec. Star Wars Satan saw that you were on the Best Soccer Show.
Yeah.
Good joke.
Yeah.
Wasn't much of a joke, though, man. It was a
true.
An anecdote given to him by somebody from the inside.
Yes. So just so you know, back when we were starting up the Brickyard Battalion for Indy 11,
the good old days,
I talked to a lot of presidents from other supporters groups just to, we were writing our bylaws. So I wanted to get some feedback and I wanted to get their opinions on how to develop the bylaws and all the rules and all that for the supporters group. And so I talked to one of the leads at the time when of the Dallas supporters group, one of them, not going to say which one, because you might be able to figure out who she is. But anyhow, at the time, Breck Shea was still there and she had let me know that his nickname was Playboy on the team. And that's because he had 3 different roommates in a season, because his roommates were also his teammates. And he would bring girls over at and they'd stay up until like 6 a.m. They had practice at 7 a.m. and they'd get no sleep because he'd be making a racket in their, bedroom across the hallway. So we got that nickname. It didn't have llama in it. I added the llama. He does look like a llama.
He does. Well, he did definitely.
Back then, he had the llama hairdo. Yeah,
shaved on the sides, really fluffy, curly.
Yeah,
long in the back,
like a mohawk almost.
Mm-hmm. Really sad mohawk.
Yeah, Dan 2584. I'm a bit behind the stream, but FYI, I love the live stream version versus the 15-minute video segment version. Great content. Love watching you guys. Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Hey, Dan,
there's definitely a part of us that like the live streams too, because it does not require any editing or posting later. It's literally we're done. Move on.
Yeah, I mean, the only risk is we say something horrible. So
yeah, but at this point, people expect it.
Well, no, I mean something really horrible.
We don't get that intoxicated on that.
Yeah, you're right. We haven't.
It's always possible in the future, guys.
But it is possible. Like let's say we're not going to do live streams when we're that bombed. No, just not going to do it.
I feel like one of us would stop it in the end.
You would hope.
Derek would be like, Brett, stop the stream. I'm not stopping the stream.
I've got more to say. Politics. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
No, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. Frank Kassler, hey man, thanks for the $9.99.
Yes.
That sounds like the kind of deal I used to get on CDs back in 1996. Brian
Reyna, you're paid for working on the corner.
I never worked on the corner, folks. Not even delivering papers. All right. Bring Reyna if he's not ready for the L3 match. Who cares? Also, I'd bring every 9 who is playing. Yes, I'm saying leaves artists in Ohio. Yeah, we'd agree with that, including Balagun. Yeah, that'd be a nice little experimental thing to do. But this is Gregg. So, the answer of why not bring them, it's just not going to happen. That's just, I don't think that Gregg's going to waste a roster spot on Reyna, because I do think Dortmund would flip out, first of all.
Yeah.
They'd be like, no, you can't have, don't do this, or we're going to fight you tooth and nail every time you want to call them in. So I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to let Reyna recover in Germany and train in Germany, get better, get healthy. I feel like Dortmund would get a phone call, and whatever Chicago's area code is,
this way 316. I don't know. Regardless, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, hey Gregg, yeah, Reyna hurt himself in practice today, man. He can't come. Sorry." But
yeah, I just
it's not gonna happen.
No, we're trying to be realistic. This particular video isn't like what Brett and I want to do. We're trying to predict what Gregg's going to do. And I'm just going to guess, but I believe we're going to be about 90% right. 99, if not 95. Yeah.
And to a number of people who are in the comment section saying, "Hey, why don't you just call it an X, Y, and Z anyways?" And on top of the 27, And I made that comment a number of times, and somebody finally brought it to my attention. And I knew about this, but I didn't really think about it. But if they call in, let's say 30 people, because Berhalter came out and said like, 27 is a good number, because once you get beyond that, it's impossible to run the camp. I'm paraphrasing, of course, guys.
That was the worst thing he ever said.
Yeah, that's so
Once
stupid.
it gets beyond 27 players, it gets really hard to run camp.
But no, it was brought to my attention, and like I said, I knew about this, but I didn't really think about this. But even if you get called into a World Cup qualifying camp, USSF has to pay a bonus, and you have to pay for room, you have to pay for food, you have to do all this other stuff. That's going to just be more expense on top of more expense, which is why they probably keep it to a lean 25 to 27 players, depending on the window. So I would love for them to call in 30 players plus and just start integrating some players. So when we do have these injuries, we're not sitting here going like, geez, who are they going to call in? Are we really going to see Roldan and Leggett against Mexico and Azteca or in Costa Rica?
No, we're not.
Well,
no,
that's the point. We don't have much of a backup outside of them in the end.
It's going to be Kellen Acosta, Yunus Musa, and Luca De La Torre. And then, you'll probably see Roldan like in the 65th or the 70th or Leggett, either one of the two. So what the hell? All right. Why?
Why?
This isn't another setup for something else, is it?
It was keyboard, so you might be getting got there.
Yeah, could be. I always worry now. I don't want to be set up. But I think, game 2 is going to be Tyler Adams and and Yunus Musa and Luca De La Torre. Again, unless Kellen Acosta just kills it. So, and you won't see Leggett and Roldan until like game 3 would be my best guess. Like, I could be wrong. I'm just trying to get inside Gregg's brain, people. That's it. And as you've noticed, Leggett wasn't even dressing last time, right? He didn't even get in the 18. So there's that to consider.
Mm-hmm.
So Roldan might be the only guy who gets a sniff in this window out of the two guys playing in MLS.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kevin Paulette, why is everyone worried about bringing locker room guys? Shouldn't the entire team just worry about qualifying and playing the game rather than the locker room? I don't know.
Yes.
People worried about the locker room?
Well, I think the people he's referring to are for the most part going to be Berhalter and co. We've had a number of people on the show talk about how like certain people. Conrad talked about it because he even talked about how he was one of those.
When he says
guys.
Everyone, he's talking about like the mainstream media.
Yeah, not just our comment section.
Okay, so like Jimmy talked, as you said, about,
yeah.
Hey, we need to bring these guys. They're good for the locker room. Okay, listen, we've already got that covered, so I don't want to hear that one. I mean, Zimmerman's your locker room guy. You've got Adams. He's a good locker room guy.
Weston would be if he was here.
Exactly. You only need 2 or 3 of those guys. You don't need 10 of them. Let's just put it that way.
But yeah, when we burn 2 to 3 potential roster spots, that becomes a problem. I mean, I feel like there's a number of players in that roster inside the locker room, because you hear not the post games, but behind the crest where they talk about it, and they're like, who does, who likes to do this, who listens to that music and plays it here, and they're like naming off the players and they're having fun with it and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the locker room is really the big concern when it comes to the players in this situation, because everybody likes. I feel like everybody likes everybody, and there's not a lot of new faces, unfortunately, at this point in the stage.
I mean,
so
the one.
I don't think we don't need that. That's just a couple extra spots.
The one toxic person in the locker room that we have already told you about, and then we were proven right, and then it was confirmed. It's John Brooks. It's John Brooks. He's the one guy that has very negative expressions, very in the locker room and on the field as well. He'll go, "Oh God, you're so horrible." So that's one of the reasons he, was not on the team, because his leadership skills were.
Do you think it might stem from maybe a lack of confidence with the English language as a whole? So he's like, maybe you guys should stop. What's the word? Sucking.
John Brooks' English is good enough, but
I'm sure it is. Yeah, I'm obviously joking there.
I just think, I know. I just think that, at this point, Gregg will look foolish if he doesn't bring Brooks, and he does
How
not.
could you
like
not?
He does not like to look foolish.
Who would you possibly call it? I mean, McKenzie would be the only person over the center backs that we didn't list, and that's a possibility.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play.
Well, that would definitely make him look foolish in the sense that you have to be in form in order to get a call up type of thing. Because McKenzie doesn't play, or if he does, it's very sporadic. But at this point in time, whereas Brooks has played for like 2 months straight,
and he's played well.
Yes.
So there's that.
And if you're going into a must-need window, and you have an informed center back, despite the fact that you may not like him as a player or even a person, fuck it, you're the manager. You got to go. You got to make those decisions.
Get this is Gregg's brain, right? So the press went after him and said, "Why is Brooks not here?" His answer was, "Brooks is not in form. When he's in form, he can come back." Okay, that's a lie. That's a lie. The only way he proves that's not a lie is if he calls Brooks up this window. That's the only reason Brooks is coming. Now, he may get on the phone with Brooks and say, "Listen, you may not be a starter. You'll probably start 1 game, maybe 2 at best." And Brooks might go, "Well, fuck it. Then I don't want to go. I have this niggling little back injury." Like the other time.
I don't know. At this point, I almost wonder, though, if he would take the call up.
He would. He will.
Just try to get back into the fold of things.
He will.
Obviously, the concept of being brought into not only the fact that Wolfsburg has basically stated that he's gone during the summer because they're not picking up his salary.
Right.
But he obviously needs to make an impression. And on top of that, he wants to probably get in the fold so he can do another World Cup. And, well, not only just perform at the World Cup because that's what everybody wants to do, but you also get paid decently at being on the World Cup roster. So that also helps too.
Right. What position? Thank you, Ryan, by the way, for $4.99. What position do you guys think could include a random dark horse in good form for the World Cup? Well, it's not going to be Julian Green. Robbie Finley's retired.
No. I think he's referring to the 2014 a la,
I know. But
I looked at the two, I go, is Robbie Finley still playing?
No, he doesn't. And Julian Green has just been pretty bad for Greuther Fürth this season. Doesn't even start anymore. Lost the starting position. I mean, dark horses, there's a reason they're called dark horses. It's like you didn't see it coming, right? Mm-hmm. The only guy I can think of that could suddenly get some time and maybe have a shot of making the team would be Alan Sonora.
I guess we have to look at this being an issue, or not an issue. The World Cup isn't for another 8 to 9 months here.
Yes, so there is some time to find new guys.
We could be looking at. We have 2 dark horse open spots in the midfield. So who knows? Maybe Tessman or maybe Busio or.
I don't think they're dark horses. They're not dark horses.
Well,
no,
Tessman
Busio certainly not. Tessman's already played.
I'll give you Busio, but I would say Tessman would be a dark horse. He's played 1 game for the net. He's played for the Olympic team, but he hasn't really. Well, he was on the Olympic squad list.
He's not an unknown. I think a dark horse is a guy that comes out of fucking nowhere, blindsides you, and you're like, "Holy shit, this guy is good." Do
you think the normies who don't necessarily pay attention to the Yanks report midweek and the weekend report would know Alan Sonora over, say, somebody like Tessman?
I think they'd know Tessman. Yes.
I don't know if a normal person who doesn't follow the inner workings would really know that.
Well, I don't think they'd know both of them, but we're talking about people who know soccer and know American soccer.
I wouldn't necessarily at that point. If they know soccer and they know American soccer, then they probably know who Alan Sonora is just from gleaning it off of all the pundits talking about him.
Hold on, no. There's one thing like knowing the guys that have played for the U.S. men's national team, which Alan Sonora has never done.
Sure.
And not knowing some guy who might be a prospect. That's like a lot of people don't know the prospects. They don't. They follow the U.S. men's national team, and they've seen Tessman. They've seen him play some games.
That's questionable if they've seen Tessman. I guarantee you, if you go unless the person's following the actual team and reading stuff about the team and watching actual Venezia games and shit like that, nobody's going to remember Tessman's one performance for Berhalter. Nobody's going to remember that.
Yeah, but almost everybody who follows the U.S. men's national team knows that he plays in Italy. This is not a secret.
Those same people will still know that Alan Sonora is getting
No, they
brought up.
won't.
They will. They will.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
We're going to agree to disagree here because
people don't know who Johnny Cardoso is barely, even though he's played
more than Tessman has.
Exactly. Well, and he's played a lot more than Alan Sonora's never played for us. So a lot of people don't know who Alan Sonora is, Brett. I mean, people don't follow Argentinian soccer. They don't.
But if they follow American soccer, then they should know. That's my point. That's my point is that Tessman has played one window for us, and he's probably played like a single game. Prior to that, unless you paid attention to him in MLS, you probably don't know about him. And if you do know about him in Venezia, where he didn't start for a good chunk of the season until just recently, but past handful of months. Then
Tessman played for FC Dallas for 2 seasons. People know who he is. No. It's not. I'm just telling you. Listen, if you had to dig through the weeds of U.S. soccer, Alan Sonora would be at the bottom of the weed pile. People don't know who he is.
I could go to anybody. Anybody who I know who watches soccer, plays soccer, and enjoys soccer, and I mentioned those 2 names. Guarantee you, they won't know any of them. They won't know Alan Sonora. They won't know Tessman. It won't make a difference.
Then they're big dummies because you should know who Tanner Tessman is. Alan Sonora is harder to know.
Unless you watched FC Dallas prior to that, it's not going to happen.
Okay,
unless you religiously watch and follow up with it.
Here's the degree level.
There's still dark horses, is my point.
Here's the degree level. Tanner Tessman played in MLS. Tanner Tessman's played for the U.S. men's national team. Alan Sonora's never played in the U.S. Alan Sonora's never played for the U.S. men's national team. He hasn't even played for our fucking youth teams.
You're under the assumption that the people I'm referring to are actually watching MLS religiously.
Well, we're just not talking about the same people, apparently.
So there you go. My point is, if you know Tessman, unless you're just an MLS junkie or an FC Dallas fan, or you actually watch content outside of just the standard punditry, like us or whatever, then you'll probably know both players. Or if you're just they're both dark horses. They're very unknown quantities when it comes to the men's national team. This is my point.
He's a dark horse in the sense that Tessman hasn't really solidified himself a starting spot at Venezia, and he's never really been a regular for the U.S. men's national team. Whereas Sonora's just a complete unknown. I don't really watch MLS. Okay.
But that's my point. That's all I'm saying is that there are definitely fans of the game who probably would know both Tessman and Alan Sonora just from following the sport, but aren't necessarily MLS fans that watch Tessman.
I'm just telling you what happens on Facebook, okay? Nobody talks about Alan Sonora.
Who cares about Facebook?
Facebook? Well, you do the Twitter, and I got to do the junk Facebook, okay? I cover the Facebook end of things.
So you're saying that people on Twitter are more intellectual than those on Facebook.
I'm just telling you people on Facebook will post Tessman Busio stuff up all the time, the Venezia games. They don't do shit.
And all that means is that they're following Yanks abroad at that point. And then they may not necessarily follow Argentina, yes. But they're as far as dark horses are concerned, quite frankly, Tessman is just as not just as much, but he's an unknown quantity as much as Alan Sonora is.
At least you can watch the Venezia games on the Plus channels.
Fair point. I mean, I don't know what streaming service has the Argentina games. So I don't know.
The only way I can watch any of Alan Sonora's games is by finding like recaps on YouTube. So
the number of people are posting the same. Oh, hold on, I missed it by one check. Here you go.
Sargent. I don't think he's a dark horse. I mean, listen. I mean, we can pop up the fucking definition of dark horse, and what it is just somebody who came out of fucking totally unexpectedly, was not supposed to be there in any way, had no chance to be there, but then ended up there. So that's what a dark horse is to me. Sargent should be there. I mean,
a dark horse is a previously less known person or thing that emerges to prominence in a situation. So I would argue and say Tessman is still for the bulk of the United States.
Would you give up on Tessman for Christ's sake?
Those were the two we're comparing against, Derek. So you can't just say you made your point, Brett. Stop talking about him.
Jesus Christ. This is the biggest argument we've ever had live. All right. That
wouldn't even classify as an argument.
Not really. Busio, Tessman, not even close.
Apparently Argentina's on Paramount Plus. I'm assuming that's what that means.
Well, I'll have to look into that then. I have Paramount Plus, and I haven't seen. Here's the thing about Paramount Plus. When you go in, you have to literally fucking put what you want to watch in the box and hit a search because it still hasn't figured out I like soccer.
Yeah, I've got to go over to sports and scroll down until I find what I want to watch. Yeah.
And so it's never advertised that they have Argentinian soccer to me. Paramount Plus, they're set up like at ESPN. They like figured out what I like to watch, so they'll like say,
Yeah,
shit you probably want to watch.
Well, you go through and you're like, what do you like to watch? I'm like, well, soccer, EPL, whatever, and you're actually clicking on stuff you want to watch, and like, okay, we'll just show you that shit.
Paramount Plus is too busy pushing their fucking idiot programming on you. They're like, hey, you gotta watch this show.
Gotta watch Picard.
I don't want to watch fucking Picard. I already saw the last episode.
Oh, you did watch the last? Why? Why are you going back to it?
I didn't.
Stop.
I didn't go back.
Oh, you watched last season?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about the recent season.
Is there a new season?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It started. They're like on season 2 or episode 2 or 3 right now.
Oh shit! I gotta jump in there.
Derek is a dark horse. Derek is a horse in a dark room. He is a dark horse.
I was never really a dark horse in my life, so But I do know what it means to be an underdog. I have been in that situation many times, either playing high school tennis or high school soccer. We weren't supposed to be where we weren't supposed to do as good as we did. All right, let's go to
Striker.
We went to striker. We just skipped the wingers.
Well, sorry, the strike. Oh, I don't have the wingers up here. Hold up. Wait a minute. There it was. I found it. It was there all along.
Zeke Zero says Alex Mighton might be considered a dark horse. I don't think so. I don't think he's got even a shot at this point.
Okay, so he's beyond a dark horse.
Yeah, he's down the tubes right now. He needs to start playing for Nottingham Forest on a regular basis. So
hey, all it takes is 2 or 3 games, and you get brought back into the window like Horvath. So we're good.
Nias says, "Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like they hide soccer on Paramount Plus. They do. They fucking do.
We
totally
pay all
hide
this
it.
money for soccer, and we're just gonna bury it down."
I mean, it's just unbelievable. Why
I will
would
say
you
the
do
only
that?
thing that's easy is when the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying is occurring, then it's one of the top things. You can just cycle over to it, and it's there. But when it comes to watching the leagues that they actually pay for, no.
I have never seen that for a World Cup qualifying.
Yeah,
game
so
on
like
my
when you go to Paramount Plus, and they have the things that cycle through like 6 or 7 different.
Not for me.
Whatever. Yeah, it's all the World Cup qualifying is always on there for me.
You probably watch a lot more Paramount Plus than I do.
I do. I watch a lot of the Serie A games. So
they algorithmed you. They haven't figured me out because I have
filthy algorithms.
I have only partake in their games when I can't get it on a Spanish channel. So there's that. 100% agree with the wingers. I mean, this is what Gregg's going to do.
Yep.
And I don't think there's any way around it. I think Reyna's injured. He would usually be in this group. Who else is injured? I think that's it, right? Who else has a real shot at this group? Certainly not Dwayne Holmes. He had a bad time with Gregg. That's not getting fixed anytime soon. Alex Mighton, no. Balogun, no. So, no. I mean, I don't know who else you got. Are we missing somebody, folks? Because Rain is really the only one.
Yeah. Jonathan, if Reyna is healthy and he's playing, we're substituting Areola.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But it's not going to happen.
No.
So let's all accept this is what we should be expecting.
Yep, I think we got to embrace this. This is what Gregg's going to do. Bringing in Reyna, if he's 100%, would be great, but he's not going to be. And my guess is that you'll mostly see Pulisic and Weah. And by the way, Conrad, don't even bother mentioning him.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and bring that up because
he doesn't play for his club, and his manager's bitching about how he's lazy in practice.
Yep. Brett W. said, do you guys have any thoughts on the rumors that came out of France that Marseille coach is unhappy with Conrad's professionalism or lack thereof?
And they are letting that leak go. They're not even responding to it because they're like, yes, he's not working his ass off in practice. And you are fighting for a spot on one of the top French teams in Ligue 1. Yeah. And if you're going to go there and do that, you got to bust your fucking balls. Yes, Morris. Why would anybody put a question mark next to Morris? Yes, Morris is going to be there. He's one of Gregg's favorites. We are picking Gregg's lineup, not our lineup. Gregg's. So yes, if you know Gregg, this is what he's doing. And we could be wrong by one. I don't know. I doubt it. Mihailovic, I get it. Yes. Is he starting the good season? Well, yeah, he is. But at this point, this deep into the window, nah, he's not going to replace any of these guys with Mihailovic. I just don't see it happening. I mean, unless one of them gets injured, then yes, then it is Mihailovic maybe. But it ain't Conrad. It's just not going to be. Conrad isn't playing. Conrad is having issues with his club manager. So, yeah, Gio Caccini, I like that one. But he just seems to be out of Gregg's plans and out of his view. And I know he's only getting 10 or 15 minutes a game. He gets an occasion. He got one start, I think. One start. So unless Gio Caccini, which is odd because he's playing in League D and he gets called up. But now he's playing in League.
Exactly. I was trying to figure out where you're going with that, Bez. Yeah.
Now that he's playing in League, now he doesn't get called up.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. He's actually getting playing time in a much better league at that point, and much better league than what some of our wingers are playing in. I think
both of us would agree. We take Gio Caccini over Paul Arriola.
Absolutely.
So
what he brought during the was the Gold Cup. Yeah, what he brought during the Gold Cup impressed me. I could have swore we were going to see him throughout the qualifier. Not all qualifier, but sprinkled here and there. Yeah. Here we are last window, and he hasn't had a single sniff from Berhalter.
Yeah. Mike Spencer, Jonathan Lewis.
Yeah.
To send us to Qatar.
He'll send us to Qatar.
Yeah. No. Although he did just score. All right. So God. He scored, but that's not going to get him on the team. He blew his chances so far. So, all right. So that's... Do we have any other complaints about this list? I mean, this is the Gregg list.
If Sargent isn't a striker, bring him in as a winger. And quite frankly, guys, the winger/striker pool, if you will, is kind of lumped together in Berhalter's lineups.
They are.
So it's goalkeeper, defense, midfield, and strikers, basically.
Forwards, he calls them.
Forwards, yeah. So in that sense, he could be listed. He could be thought of as a winger option for Berhalter, but you would look at it and say, like, well, no, he's being listed as a 9 in this situation. But
because think about it, Jordan Morris could play CF, so could Timothy Weah.
I would say Timothy Weah over Morris at this situation. I think Morris has been playing out wide primarily for Seattle for a while now, hasn't he?
Yeah, out left. And Brendan Aronson. Yeah, Brendan Aronson could play a false 9 if you really needed him to. So there's all that.
Well, we know Pulisic can play there too, but we don't want him to.
Right, and that's why Gregg just lumps them all into one group.
Yeah,
we're doing it.
Figure out what we're gonna do when we get to that game.
We're being a little more esoteric here, but that's okay. I mean, not deeply into the weeds, but you get the point. All right, let's take on another.
Takes us right into it.
Another question. You want to take another question before we go into the last slide?
Let's see where we're at.
By the way, thanks for all the tweets, guys, and the questions for the show. It's really cool. Gets us a chance to, read
and break it up a bit
and think about it first. Listen, we love the comments too, so just keep them flowing because we'll respond to those too. But it's nice sometimes with the deeper questions to have some time to think about it.
Speaking of deeper questions, interesting thing I saw today, and I think you guys need to do a little more further research. On Dwayne Holmes' wiki page, it shows his father to be John Holmes, the old porn star. Something this big, pun intended.
No way, folks. Dwayne Holmes has 0 features of John Holmes.
I just wanted to bring that one up because that was a quick one. But let's talk about this one because this takes us into strikers. Question: is U.S. men's national team true striker or true 9 at risk of becoming a scapegoat now for qualification failure? In other words, will he switch to a true 9 as soon as, God forbid it, we drop an early 3 points? Can you tell I don't trust him?
What? Is he assuming that we're not going to start with a true 9 against Mexico? I think we will. I think we're going to not use the false 9 against Mexico.
So I guess the concern would be if we play... Ferreira at 9?
That would be the only concern, is if you play Ferreira, then that's sort of more of a closer to a false nine.
Well, I mean, I guess in the defense of this question, Berhalter doesn't get much from his nines as a whole. I'm not sure why. We have some talented strikers that know how to finish the ball, but they're just not offered the opportunities, and when they are, they're few and far between.
Yeah,
I don't understand how that happens, but it is what it is.
well, they're isolated. That's why they're isolated, and they're asked to. Well, anyhow, we've just talked about this so much.
That's because Weah's pushed off the wing, which is what he's supposed to be doing, and Pulisic is sitting back in our defensive third as a center midfielder.
Dan W., you can't say the Ferreira's out of form yet. They played one game. It's not fair. That was a shitty game. I'll give you that, though. It was not good. In fact, the whole midfield for DC or for Dallas got yanked. They were so bad, including Paxton Palmacall. So
let's go ahead and cover another one real quick. Should Berhalter be fired if the U.S. men's national team are forced to play in the Confederation playoff game in order to qualify for Qatar?
Hell no.
It's not going to happen, guys.
You can't fire him right before the game. There's no way. That would be the worst thing to do. I mean, let's fire him afterwards.
Well, I think that's kind of his point. Let's say we qualify, but we had to go through fourth position. Do we fire Berhalter before going to Qatar?
New Zealand, that game against New Zealand would be a must-win game, and I just can't imagine, unless it was like Bob Bradley, which that's not going to happen, or somebody who just knows the pool like crazy and knows how we should set up, and I just don't see it happening. I don't know who you threw in there.
Well, that's
for one game.
Question.
Yeah, for one game.
No, again, assuming we beat New Zealand and we move on to the World Cup.
Well, then he's
basically saying, would that be considered a failure? And do we think we should can Berhalter before the World Cup? Is the way I'm reading that.
Not to U.S. soccer, it won't be considered a failure.
Qualified, I guess, technically.
All they care about.
That's an extra $10 million in their coffers, or $12 million in their coffers.
Did you qualify? That's all U.S. soccer cares about. They don't care how he gets it done.
Who were we talking to that basically stated that that's all that he was brought in to do? Was that Bill Archer? Was it Shredder?
Archer, you're right.
I think it was Archer. Yeah, the whole point for Berhalter was to qualify. I mean, obviously, any manager for the national team has to qualify, but they're not looking far into the future with it. Is what Archer was talking about.
Right.
They were looking at, hey, let's just qualify.
Yeah.
Let's get that monkey off our back, and then we'll worry about it moving forward. There's
no doubt that a lot of people would be up in arms if we had to play that game. And the shit would be hitting the fan. But as soon as Gregg got us qualified, they'd be like, see, hey, nothing to look at here. Everything's fine.
All part of the master plan.
Let's move on. PFOC does need a call, by the way, Hydra, but you're about to see our center forward picks, and you're not going to be happy because these are Gregg's picks, or what will be Gregg's picks. And don't blame us. We're just channeling our inner Greggs, doing the best. It's a dark place to be. So, despite Pepe struggling at Augsburg, I think he's going to be there.
Yeah, he's going to be our top option. I mean, they'll use him, whatever game they use him on, he's still considered our top option at this point.
He went and visited Josh Sargent at Norwich City in public. He watched the whole game. He's been keeping in touch with Josh quite a bit through his transition. Josh scored a couple goals a couple weeks ago. I think Sargent makes it. Now, the debate is Ferreira versus PFOC. And honestly, just knowing Gregg, that's going to be Ferreira. And PFOC's going to be left off. Because he's only bringing three. He's only bringing three, Brett.
I know. That's why I put I differentiated us here.
What the fuck does D and B mean? Dumb and bad? What's that?
Dick's choice and Brett's choice, right?
Dicks and breasts.
Derek, I think you picked Ferreira, and I don't blame you for picking him.
Oh, D means me.
Okay. But B stands for Brett, and I picked PFOC over him.
I was like, B, what the fuck?
You go on the previous window preaching about how in order to be called into the national team, you have to be informed, and we have our most informed striker not even getting a call.
Gregg doesn't give a fuck about that.
I know, but he mentioned, and that's his fault for mentioning that. He shouldn't have said that shit. Said, hey, this is who I'm calling in. Get over it. That's what he should have said.
I don't think that he's going to get any heat for that. So, I mean, unless we lose the games, then he'll get heat for not bringing PFOC. But he'll get more heat about Brooks. He'll get more heat about Brooks.
Sure, I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying, unless Frere comes in and just lights it up and does gets a game-winning assist like he did technically, I guess, against Honduras. Well, it wasn't against Honduras. It was El Salvador. Got the game-winning assist against El Salvador. But unless he does it again this window, then I would absolutely believe that at least the fan base. I mean, Berhalter's going to be like, yeah, whatever. I don't care, you know. But there'll be enough. I think there'll be enough fans who are like, why didn't we call in a guy who's got like whatever it is, like 13 goals or whatever it is? Ridiculous. He's our most informed striker. Why are you not calling him in?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just telling you what Gregg.
I know that.
Yeah, I think that Gregg doesn't value a player like PFOC. He should, especially let's say if a guy like Acosta's taking the set pieces. PFOC is a motherfucker in the air. He will hit some. He will find a way to get shit in the goal if you put the ball in the junk area and let it bounce around a bit. I mean, he'll find a way to score, and that's how he scores a lot of his goals, actually. So, I just think it would be a mistake not to have a guy like PFOC who can come in the last 20 minutes when you need a goal and put his head on the ball and score. So, or be in the right place at the right time and poach it and get it in. So, we missed a question. I saw it earlier.
If it's a question, it was just a regular question because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Have you talked about the Pepe tweet situation? What Pepe tweet? You would know.
That's what I was doing. While you were talking there, I was like, I was on Twitter looking at Pepe, and I was like, I don't see anything. Jose, do you have an explanation for yourself in this one? Because I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't either. It was Spencer Daughtry who said, any chance we see Sebastian Soto or Hoppy in Nations League? More likely Hoppy.
Soto, really? I know that you were talking about Soto's picked up like 20 pounds of muscle or something like that.
Dude, that guy's buff now.
Yeah.
He's buff. I watched him play Livingston against, who the fuck was it? Was it Celtic? Yeah. I watched that game. And dude, when he was on the sideline, like bouncing around, getting ready to go in, they're like, and next coming in is Sebastian Soto. I'm like, what? That's Sebastian Soto? Get the fuck out of here.
What you're saying is when he wasn't getting playing time at Porto, he was doing crunches all
He was
game.
pumping some weights, dude. Because his upper body is like, it's maxed out, man. I mean, he ain't Morris thick, but he's getting there. So he was pretty thick. And I was like, damn. And he'd had some good moments in his little 20 minutes that he got. Or, I mean, Livingston they were totally outplayed, obviously, by Celtic. But, man, great.
Jose, I'm going to have to look into that further. I don't know anything about this. I haven't seen anything on Twitter. And usually that type of stuff gets passed around.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
That's news to me, if that's the case.
Yep.
No
idea.
Pepe liked a racist treat towards Mexicans. I mean,
I need to see it to know the context and have context. I mean, it seemed like a really dumb thing to do because he is Mexican. He's Mexican American. Yeah. So it doesn't seem like that'd be a very smart thing to do. Since he is Mexican, I don't know why he would be racist against himself. But, that's just a natural instinct. He may be said something horrible about Mexican fans. I don't know.
So it looks like I'm venturing into the wrong part of Twitter, and I don't speak Spanish, so that won't help me any. I'll take a look and find out what tweet it was. I'm assuming it has to do with the incident that occurred recently.
What's that?
The killings that occurred.
The killings?
Yeah, there's the whole riot between fans, and there's like videos all over the place.
That, yeah.
Well, I guess the Mexican Federation's coming out saying that there were no killings.
Well, there are 3 people in critical.
I've seen the videos. I'm like, there's no way that person's not dead. So. Yeah.
I mean, there are 3 people in critical situations in the hospital. The rest of everybody else they're non-critical, probably be fine. But, it always sucks. It sucks to see that kind of violence. at a soccer game.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit, dude. It's like, listen, soccer's here for us to be like entertained by and to be loved and cherished. It's not here to fight over. This isn't a fucking, listen, we had to deal with ultras at Indy 11 from other teams.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just ridiculous, dude. It's like, don't pump your fucking chest at me. Really, I'm here for the game. I know you're visiting Indy and you want to get in my face and shit, but please, let's just have fun out here, right? This is a fun game. Our team's going to beat your team, and you shouldn't get that upset about it. So, all right.
Here we go. So Alex is saying 15 people have died, and Salazar has said that the Mexican authorities have hid deaths before.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is from reading the news at like whatever time it was today, a lot earlier. And so if a lot of things got worse than they were in the original reports, I haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
So
I guess that in the end, Jose saying that the whole Pepe thing smells of an accident. Probably similar to Hoppy liking the Berhalter outside.
If that was an accident.
Whoops.
Otherwise, he better be a fucking Duke fan or a North Carolina fan or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
And I don't think he is.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know which one it was. Was it Duke, North Carolina?
It was Duke or North Carolina, and I don't. He didn't grow up anywhere near either of those teams. So if he's a fan of those teams, that's news to me.
Who's the Frankie Haydude of the cycle?
No one.
No.
There's not going to be ever another Frankie Hayduck. I mean, the closest you got is, as far as speed-wise, down the wing would be maybe Yedlin in his younger years. But yeah, there's no other Frankie Hayduck. He is his own dude. Most underrated goal, in your opinion? In my opinion, it's probably Winalda's free kick goal versus Switzerland in the 1994 World Cup. It was a nice one. I mean, it's not underrated for me. I was there. So I don't think that I personally consider it underrated because at the time it blew up. I mean, as much as you can blow up without social media back then, it was a big deal.
And I guess underrated in that sense comes to the point of whether or not just people know about it now. I mean, how many fans now? How many young fans now really go back through the old days and find what we would have deemed as an important goal? An important goal.
The most important goal in my lifetime, and I mentioned to you this before the show started, was Paul Caligari's goal against Trinidad and Tobago, dubbed as the shot heard round the world, which got us into the first World Cup in like 50 years or 40 years, 30. I can't remember what it was. It was a long time.
The time prior to that, we got third place?
I think it was 40 years, if I had to do the math in my head right now.
It was like 1950, I think, or something like that is when it was.
So that is a goal like nobody knows about. Like people don't realize how bad we were for my whole childhood. And then we finally qualified for a World Cup. And I had to read about it in goddamn USA Today because it wasn't on TV. Not that I don't remember being on TV. And if it was, I missed it. I was a young kid. But I used to run to the door to get my USA Today to see what was happening with the U.S. national team because I knew qualifying was on. And back then you could get they had a bunch of nice writers there. There's one guy specifically who did soccer, and that was the section I jumped to in the sports section every time. So
do you still run to get your USA Today?
No. And I don't. I don't even know if it's around. I'm sure it is. But I mean, I watched footage of it later. There were some ESPN covered some of that goal in particular, that bomb by Caligari on their shows. So I did get to see it, and then we made the World Cup. Man, I was just blown away. It's blown away. Who's my dad? What?
Yeah, Jose's asking a question. Who's my dad? Statistics would show, Jose, that it's either going to be a mailman, a milkman, plumber, or cable guy. If porn's told me anything.
What? Why? There are like actors named Jose. They're like rich people named Jose. And the guy who owns the
No, I'm saying statistics in general. When you don't know your dad, it's something like that. It's usually
he doesn't know who his dad is.
Yeah, he's like, who's my dad? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have no idea who your dad is. And that's that sucks, but figure it out, Jose. I mean, you can do a DNA
Get back
test.
to us on that later.
Yeah. That's an odd question. Very odd. What the fuck?
All right. So if Bobby Wood, the Hawaiian Messi, scores 30 goals this season, does he deserve a call-up?
Yes, but he's not going to score 30 goals.
No.
He'll score like 11, 12.
And even if he scores 30 goals this season, I guess that technically speaking, if he scores 30 goals this season, that means he'd be entering the World Cup on that big of a high. Probably with an MLS Cup behind his belt too.
Dude, if he scores 30 goals, he's going to get called up.
I'm calling up, yeah. You can't be that hot and not hot and fiery, that's
period. There's just no way you can get around it. Nobody scores 30 goals. I mean, even if he scores 20 goals,
one down, 29 to go.
He will probably get a call up. He will get a sniff at one of the friendlies or Nations League or whatever. He will.
Alexa, will Bobby Wood get called up? Oh, she's having difficulty connecting. She's not connected to her Wi-Fi right now. Sucks for you, Alexa.
Bobby Wood. Love the name. Bobby Wood really destroyed his own career in Germany. He did it to himself. So there you go. I'm glad he's having success at RSL, however minimal it was last season because of injuries. Maybe this season he stays healthy the whole time and just scores like a banshee. I'm not willing to give up on him. I think at one point Bobby Wood was one of the best strikers we had. So there you go.
So Colin posts his 27, and he says not a prediction. So he does not predict that Berhalter will call this up.
All right, Colin, we're going to go easy here. I'm assuming the goalkeepers are because everybody's injured, right? No on Bingham. No on Yarbrough. So, I mean, if you want them, fine. It's fine. But there's no way. They're so far out of it. There's no consideration. Yarbrough.
Well, I mean, there's no reason you would never expect Johnson not to get called up in this situation.
Yeah, his name's Johnson. He's getting called up. Defense, Zimmerman's fine. Robinson, yeah. Miazga, no. He hasn't played. He doesn't play for Alaves. So, I mean, you could still like him if you want to like him. You can like him, but he doesn't play.
I still like. I like Miazga. To your point though, even when he has played recently, it has not been that great.
Long, yeah, he's a Gregg favorite. Farrell, no, he's nowhere in the he's not even in. Like if there was a give a shit meter that Gregg had in his head, Farrell would be like out of 10, he'd be at a 2. Like he doesn't care about Farrell. Cannon, maybe, yeah. We brought Cannon tonight. Dest, yes.
Yep.
Jedi, yep. Mm-hmm. Jones, DeJuan Jones, I'm guessing. It must be a Revs fan. I didn't know Colin Reese was a Revs fan. If he's a Revs fan, that's wishful thinking on Jones. I like Jones, but I don't think there's any likelihood he'll be called up. Adams, yes. Richards. Why is Richards in the midfield?
Or are we missing out on a different Richards?
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't think so. Maybe he wants to play holding midfield.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of odd. I mean, you must be playing a different formation altogether, Colin. That's all I got to say. Costa, yeah. Musa, yeah. De La Torre, yeah.
Real quick. Berlin. It's a holiday here. Good night. Night, man. Thanks for joining up on us.
Good night. Fucking holiday is that?
I know. He's drunk too.
It's called the drunk holiday. Okay.
Yep. That's every day. Fucking A.
Fucking holiday is it in Germany?
Real quick, another one. ER for $1.99. Thanks. No questions. Just supporting your drinking habits.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
The decimal points off at least one.
I mean, I'm down to like at least a sip here. So
I've got melted ice at this point.
This segment is going to end soon. And so we'll just do Adams, Richards, Kosiem, Mihailovic is fine. Corona. Okay, Corona, no. The dude has no team. I don't think he has a club yet. International Women's Holiday. Of course. Of course it is. Couldn't be something simple. Had to be something complicated and political. Of course, it's the International Women's Holiday.
Wait, is that code for your girlfriend's birthday?
Could be. But if it's international, that's not something we do here. I've not even heard of that before.
Dude, there's a today is the day of cheese or whatever the fuck they do. The individual day holidays. It's so stupid. Today's International Day for Wine. I'm just like, that's every day.
Every day's a day for cheese. Fuck that. Yeah, cheese is the bomb. All cheeses.
I like how the two holidays I picked there were wine and cheese.
I'll take those every day over whatever. And Pulisic, Pepe, Weah, Aronson, Areola.
Sure, we talked about him.
You're all good good up until Wood.
I guess if we're looking at before we look at the other two, I think Areola question over Morris, but I think Areola is still going to get called this window. We talked about that.
I'm just basically saying if this is even remotely possible or
not.
I'm
with you there.
Wood, no. He's got to score 15 goals this season to get back in the picture. 20 goals. Altidore, same thing. Didn't even start for the Revs.
He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, there's too many Revs on this team. Number one. That's all I got to say. But hey, that's a minor complaint. Thanks for trying. We're trying to do Gregg's list. I'm getting what you're going at, though. I mean, we all have our favorite players.
I mean, outside of a couple of players, there's still a list that we were like, yeah, that could happen. Yeah, that could happen. Yeah, there definitely a couple of players in each position that were like, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it sounded more like a personal favorite than anything else, than a realism favorite. Because, well, listen, if you're guessing, I guess if you're going to go balls out and just do your own list, fuck reality, you know. So just do.
So I started off in this cycle. I would just post what I wanted, and you'd be like, "No, Gregg's going to do this," and then come the actual game itself, you look like a brilliant guy, and I look like an idiot on the street yelling at clouds, going, "Ah!" So
actually, what you used to say was, "Well, it's sort of a mix between what I want and what Gregg will want."
Basically, that means that we would agree on about 85%, and then I would sit there and go like X, Y, and Z, you know, and you're like, no, it's going to be, A, B, and C instead.
Dude, you can't blend those two things. That's like blending brandy and I don't know, some nasty beer, some Miller Lite or something.
Depends on the time of night, I guess.
Yeah, you can't blend those two things. It's pretty gross. So, are we done, or we have more questions, or because it's been a minute, hour and 38 minutes? It's
our longest one yet.
Fuck. Why is the hour thing not happening? How come we never get back?
Do you really have to ask that question? All we do is talk.
God damn it. All right. Well, hey, guys.
That was fun.
Thank you for showing up again and for having all those great comments and questions. We appreciate it. We're going to continue to do these live shows, I think, twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, starting at 8:15, unless something else goes wacky. I know we scheduled with Pete today, so we're actually, during the qualifiers, USA versus Panama, we're going to be on Pete's show March 27th, directly after the USA Panama game. So just join us over there.
Are we not doing the pregame too? I don't know if that was a group thing.
No, we're not doing pregame. I don't think so. We're just doing after game with Pete. And so that kind of is just going to cancel out our show, but we're hoping that by going on Pete's show and being sort of his wingman for the after game there, that might attract other people to watch our show. So it's kind of a weighted risk for us. Because, I mean, we'd rather hang out with all of you, but you guys can all go to Pete's show.
There you go.
On that night, on March 27th.
Well, as we found out on Thursday, whenever Filippo and us had live stream on the same time, people were like, no, we want to watch both.
Yeah.
We got it worked out for the best.
We fixed our times. Yep. Filippo went earlier than we went. once we realized we were scheduled on the same day. So we're trying not to like jump on top. We're trying not to collide with one another on these live broadcasts. And we're going to stick together. I think I've mentioned this before because we have to. Well, not because we have to, but I think it's important that we support all the other independent guys coming up who are actually more popular than we are because we just got started, but they're doing a great job and they should be commended for their work and not, there shouldn't be any suspicion around what they're trying to accomplish or what they're trying to do or what they're saying by either mainstream media or cynics. I mean, they want to, they're free to express their cynicism about Pete and Filippo and even Sam if they want to, or even FIFA America. But I think we all have good intentions here. And that's the point. And we want to be supportive of them and their good intentions. We get a lot less shit than they do, we thank you for that. We thank you for your support. And we're just going to keep chugging along. We got one more segment to do, so we got to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. All right. Until the next time on Straight Red Card, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandma.
Do it again. Whoop. Ah, fuck. And like it. That's way too many likes. I got a comment on a channel. Fuck. Oh. Yeah. That should probably do. That should probably do.
Thank you for watching the Straight Red Card. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma. Your grandma is probably about as old as I am. Seriously, she probably is. Again, thanks for supporting the show. Let's keep kicking it on down the fucking road. Good night. That hurt.